Good evening. Today from the Reddit Rainforest. What's the worst thing you have ever been accused of while being completely innocent? Anabolic steroids. I was a high jumper on my college's track and field team, and we would have to do urine tests every so often. Well, one of mine came back from the lab positive for anabolic steroids, which give women who take them strong manly-like features. I was 58 and 125 lbs. Luckily the lab broke the tests into 2 samples and eventually tested the second sample, showing it was clean. Apparently the lab had a contaminated batch of test tubes, and the company had to fly reps into my college to apologize to me and a baseball player this both happened to. It was a scary couple weeks. My first week of high school, I got called into the office because rumors were flying around that I was planning to blow up the school and had already rigged it with explosives. This was obviously news to me. Then about a year later, I had my wisdom teeth removed and missed a week of school. When I finally came back, my friends had to explain the freaked out looks I kept getting from classmates. Apparently a boy who regularly picked at me had vanished from school about the same time I did, and the rumor going around was that I had killed him, eaten him, and then been arrested. Everybody was surprised to see me because thieves spent the past week telling each other about how I was in jail and he was in my stomach. Folks sure make up weird rumors. The boy was fine. FYI, had just been suspended. Had just moved to a new school in 5th grade. Was never great at making new friends. So I thought I'd sugar them up by bringing sugar mixed with Kool-Aid. Something that was popular at my old school. Who does not love a bunch of 10-year-olds licking their fingers and dipping them in a baggie of sugar? Apparently, an older kid had given several first graders heroin during this time and it got pegged on me. I was removed from class. Police came. I cried like a randitch because I did not understand why they thought my grape Kool-Aid was heroin. I kept telling them to taste it. The principal finally did and realized I was telling the truth. Awesome first week of school. Drugs. Shockingly enough, my parents' divorce made me act out at 9 years old, and I kept distracting other kids in class. My mom was convinced it was because I was doing drugs and yanked hair out of my head and made me get blood tested. They found nothing because I was 9 years old. You mean you weren't not doing cocaine at 9? Did you even have a childhood? You heard it here first folks. I'm so sorry to disappoint my fans, but unfortunately 9-year-old me just was not hard. I helped a friend of my mother move when I had just turned 18 for no pay, and this lady accused me of stealing one of her guns. I booked it straight to the police department to explain the situation. When she tried to report me, they told her she was crazy. They already spoke to me, and that criminals that steal guns do not go directly to the police. I was accused of destroying a window at school by dropping a rock from a higher floor. Interrogated by the principal. Parents were called. Friends had to fund the repairs. Bullied on the bus. It ducking sucked. Found out who it was 2 years later. But by then nobody cared. Why did your friends have to fund the repairs? The owner never came forward, so the repairs were shared between the class. I got kicked out of a sit-down restaurant during my company Christmas party for doing drugs in the bathroom. When the manager told me to leave and that they do not allow that behavior here. My boss and 20 plus other employees vouched for me that I had not left the table for 2+ hours. The entire duration of the party. The manager called my boss an idiot and made me leave. No one in my company has been back since. In 3rd grade I walked to a convenience store with $2 and spent 20 minutes trying to decide what candy to get, picking things up and putting them back. The old lady clerk accused me of stealing and said to never come back. That was a bit problematic given it was the only gas station in my small town, and I have moved back and been living here for the last 15 years. Have you gone back? My son and I stopped there today to grab some sunflower seeds. He went in with a mask. No, I was intimidated by the place for a few years, but clearly the clerk did not know who I was. I know who she is now as an adult and respect her for who she is. She's still living. I'm in my mid-40s, but must be really old by now. I should have shared this anecdote with her. We lived in a townhome condo complex. My mom was fighting with the board over misused funds. When she was at work there was a knock at our door. One of the neighbors had an emergency and asked if I could come and watch her kids while she went to the hospital. Sure. I was 16 and had been babysitting for 4 years. I spent a few hours looking after 2 cute kids 3 and 5. I got home before my mom. We started dinner and there was a knock at the door. It was a pair of police. The mother had gone to the police station and accused me of abusing her 3-year-old. She said that I hit her and locked her in the dryer for several hours. My mom asked the cop if he was insane. She pointed out that I was the kid who picked caterpillars off the walk and put them on the grass so people did not step on them. She asked the cops to point out the complainant. When he pointed, my mom asked me if I was crazy because that's the woman who stole funds from the condo board. Why would I go there? I said I did not know that, and that she said she had to go to the hospital immediately because her dad had had a heart attack. The cops said they would be back. They came back an hour later and said I would not need to come with them after all. Turns out dad was alive and well. I was not so well after having a full-blown panic attack for an hour. Drugs. When I was in high school I had a very monotonous voice that my parents thought was fake, and anytime we were out they would ask someone to tell me what I sound like because they thought that if I was embarrassed enough I would talk normally. Instead it made me talk less and me shut out some of my friends in my life. When they realized I was not talking they jumped to conclusions and accused me of doing drugs. What really made them think I was doing drugs was when I lost $20 at my school's picnic. They were constantly counting my money to see if they can prove I was doing drugs and realized that I was missing $40 and told me to tell them what happened to it. I explained to them that I had a picnic at school and brought $40 with me but lost half of it. They said my story did not add up, so they started to rummage through my backpack and room anytime I was not at home and would ask for the names of my friends and anyone that I was talking to so that they could run background checks on them. This is tame compared to others in this thread, but it's one that has stuck with me for ages. When I was really little, around 6, my aunt was babysitting me. My sweet dog was shedding fur. My aunt accused me of cutting her fur. She had me across her knee saying she would not spank me if I admitted it. I was sobbing uncontrollably because I loved my dog. We were the same age and she was like a second mom and would never do that to her. My mom came home not long after and I do remember her being livid. Despite my issues with my mom, she never once laid a hand on me. My mom could not believe that her sister never comprehended that animal sheds fur in clumps. My older sister did something similar. She accused me after I left her place of shaving her cat after she noticed some bald spots on him. After denying it, because who on earth would shave someone's cat? She then assumed I had put lotion on him and he was having a reaction from it, thus resulting in hair loss. Again, which I did not do. Turns out he has severe separation anxiety and would lick bald spots and sores to the point of bleeding on himself when he was alone. He now has one of these pheromone things that you stick into the wall that's supposed to calm him down and feel not alone, and I'm guessing has doing better with it. She never apologized for accusing me and I'm still upset she would think I would do something like that. Bank robbery. I was early for my first day as a gas jockey in a new city. I was across the street from the gas station, digging through my backpack when suddenly somebody told me to show them my hands. I was totally confused to look up and see 2 RCMP officers, hands on their sidearms. They did not draw or anything. Turns out there had been a bank robbery around the corner a few minutes before, and my gas jockey uniform and backpack matched the description. They looked inside my bag, containing my brown bag lunch and a paperback, and then they were gone in a flash. Apparently, the guy did not get caught until after another bank robbery in the same area. I was 14 and had just started to learn how to use a digital camera. The only one I had at the time was my mom's. Sometime after my birthday, the SD card that was my mom's went missing. My dad immediately went to blame me for it, and my mom was hoping I did not do it. After over an hour of interrogating me, we still could not find it. Come to find out, my mom had put it in her normal place of valuables she keeps it in. I did not even get a ducking apology. I had something just like this, but I was using my little sister's DS to transfer Pokemon. She had Mario Kart in it, and I had put it back in the case after I was done. The case had a flap that covered the games to protect them. She cannot find it the next day, so everyone jumps on my ass and blames me for losing it. After searching, I said wait a minute and got her case. And sure enough, the game is right there, saying I lost a game and then telling me I have to replace it for over an hour. And it was right where I ducking put it. No apology or anything. Still infuriates me. My father was accused of murdering the neighbor's dog and disposing it at a remote beach. When I was a kid, we had a rocky relationship with one of the neighbors because they had a yappy dog that they took very poor care of. It drove the whole street mad, but for some reason it never got taken away by animal control. A few years ago, my parents moved to another part of town. Afterwards, Dad worked on the old house to get it ready to sell. One day he was on the driveway when the neighbors left in their car. They made eye contact. Then, When the neighbors returned, their dog was inexplicably missing. They instantly accused dad of sneaking over and butchering the dog because he had enough of it. He tried to explain that an animal control van had briefly come through the street shortly after they left, but they were not having a bar of it. They were so convinced he had done something they started a massive social media campaign to pressure him into admitting it, including invading all the local community groups and outing him. They even went so far as to drive an hour out of town to the beach we often go to in the weekends to put up posters. It was wild, stressful and stupid. It only stopped after we picked up a lawyer and sent a cease and desist letter threatening to take them to court for public defamation. The dog was never found, and apparently they have 2 new ones now. This was also the same family that found someone's lost cat and decided to keep it. Probably kicking my young son. I was carrying something like hot tea or soup and he went to grab me, so I put my knee out to stop him getting close to me and scalding himself. But for some reason, everyone else in the room thought I kicked him or kneed him. Very strange situation. During one of the busiest shifts at a cafe bar I used to work at, while hastily carrying lots of orders at once, I accidentally kicked this very little boy running around. I went to the wardrobe crying after apologizing and treating him and his mom. They were very nice about it all, and turns out he ran into my leg and fell on his bum. I did not kick him. We all laid about it afterwards, but I kept feeling so bad about it for the rest of the day. In 4th grade, someone kept stealing mouse balls from the computer lab. I remember our teacher warning us about it. One day my teacher pulled me aside and told me that someone had accused me of being the mouse ball thief. It was a guy I was friendly with, but not friends with, kind of an outcast. I assured him this was totally false, and I think he believed me. I was a mostly good kid. The next day at school I look inside my pencil box, and what do I find but a mouse ball sitting inside. I'm freaking out. I go up to the teacher, probably talking a million miles an hour about how I did not steal the mouse ball, did not know why it was in my pencil box, etc. He looks at me doubtfully and says he'll have to get with the principal and figure out what to do with me. The whole evening I'm still freaking out. My mom has the idea of looking my accuser up in the phone book. I looked that jerk up and confronted him and his father about what was happening. He denied doing anything on the phone. The next day the kid admitted to the teacher first thing. He had planted the ball as a practical joke. Saw the guy years later and he was trying to be friendly. I found myself still pissed off about this incident. When I was 11 I was accused by a babysitter that I was molesting my sister when I was really playing my Nintendo DS with her. It was completely unbelievable because she said that she made it all up because she did not want to change diapers. She got fired by my mom and the last I saw her she was living in her car. Ex-boyfriend and I broke up on extremely messy terms. I would not detail everything, but how it happened leading up to the breakup. I changed colleges and he told his friends and everyone who knew me that he got me pregnant and that's why I left. Considering premarital sex warrants disownment in our culture, this screwed up my relationship with my parents. At this point they were already ready to kick me out for the mere fact of just having a boyfriend. We never even had sex, but I suppose he did not want to admit I ended things. Of course news spread and came back to my parents. They disowned me after accusing me of being a whore, even going as far to assuming I slept with my male friends. Around the time that they officially disowned me, I was waiting for results to confirm whether or not I had breast cancer. My parents did not believe me until 2 years after the lie. Posted this before, but seems relevant. I was fighting with my brother, realized the fight was dumb, so I just went to my room. My brother decided to punch himself and blame me. My mom is yelling at me and grounding me. I cannot believe you did that to your brother. Blah blah blah. So I figured, if I was about to get in trouble for it, I should actually do it. I turned around and actually clocked my brother in the face, to which he responded, "I cannot believe she actually did that," and my mom realized he had been lying. I ended up not getting in trouble. I was 9 and a Girl Scout. I was attending a Girl Scout camp and the leader accused me of throwing trash around the campsite. She made me sit in a chair in the corner of a building. I remember crying over the whole situation. For the record, I did not throw trash around the campsite. The leader was a mean woman. I know this is ridiculous, but in 2nd grade another child accused me of calling my teacher a randage. No one believed me when I claimed innocence, and I got a spanking and was forced to apologize. I felt so powerless because since all the adults believed I was guilty, in effect I was. I think I'm still a little mad about it. Oh my gosh, I have a similar story. 2nd grade. Got accused of writing "you are a randage" on another kid's work before he turned it in. He blamed me for it. I sat across the room from him and was a shy quiet kid and never gave any issues. Still got sent to the office. Stupid Justin from elementary school in Bama. If you're out there, I'm still mad. When I was 16, I was riding with a friend back to another friend's house and the cops pulled him over. I had nothing on me. He, unbeknownst to me, threw a bag of coke underneath my chair. Cops found it, put us both in jail, took him to county. 17 yo. Took me to juvie. 16 yo. He got out before me and hired a lawyer. Pinned it on me through family connections. Got the charges reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor cause I was a good kid and it showed. Ruined my life for a good 5 years. Just heard that a kid all grown up broke into his ex-GF's house to steal drugs and is pretty much a burnout loser. I'm applying for law school next spring. A friend who became a friend with benefits called me a lying asshole the first time we had sex. Followed immediately by you told me you had a vasectomy. She did not realize that a vasectomy just takes the seeds out of the orange juice. It does not eliminate the orange juice. My mom accused me of smoking weed back in high school because she found a matchbook in my pants. I only had the matchbook because it had a funny Mexican man on it, so I decided to pocket it. My real crime was racism/stereotyping, I guess. Purposefully pushing my friend's little sister off the bed and breaking her arm. We were both jumping and she fell. But her older sister and her mom refused to believe that I did not push her. I was like 7 or 8 and the little sister was 3 or 4. It still messes with me that they instantly thought I would do something like that. Unfortunately, that is all there is for this video, but do not worry, there are many more coming. Like and subscribe for more videos from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.